Welcome, affiliated listeners, to another very special episode, which we're actually going to be doing something different today. And that's because we have possibly one of our favorite people that we get to see in any sort of industry event or just in general, and a really special guest today. And we're going to be talking about something I think all of you want to know about, which is the best way that you should be making money in your business right now. So before we tell who our special guest is, I want to say hi to my co-host and delightful human.
I'm not the favorite person? Okay.
Oh. Yeah. No. But, you know, when we talk about this part later, we'll definitely mention that you mean something to me, Thomas. But how are you doing today, by the way?
I'm doing great. This has been a fun day.
Yeah. It has been. And it's about to get a lot more fun, and we'll explain why. But that is because we have the amazing, that almost doesn't even need an introduction. And I think not only a great success story, but a current expert in the industry, that is Liss Graham. Liss, how are you doing today?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yes. Well, and Liss, you actually get to be a part of a maiden voyage of something that we're going to start trying, which is, you know, Boise is a great place. You did come in March, which I'm sorry. So, you know, hey, it's great, right?
Yeah.
Hey, but you know, oftentimes we come in here, we want to show the office, but because you're in here, we think we should do something a little bit special with a live podcast. So what we've done today is, anytime I think anyone that knows you or knows you well enough knows that you love some cheesecake.
I do.
You love to network and connect through cheesecake.
Yes.
Yeah. And cheesecake is not, listen, this is not just your grandma's dessert. Cheesecake's a little bit fancier. It's a little bit more decadent. And one way to make it even better is we try and pair alcohol with our guests that come inside. We got some champagne to go along with some cheesecake for this podcast. So we're going to pop it open as we get started with this conversation, and hopefully nothing bad happens.
Yeah.
Or we don't lose an eye.
Yeah, well, Kyle does that. I want you to tell a story a bit about the cheesecake. Do we call it mastermind yet?
Yeah, I don't know. I call it cheesecake sweet party.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like to have.
Wait, I should pour yours first.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I have a
Chivalry is
giant-
dead, but let's bring it back to life.
I have
right
a giant vessel. Yeah, so whenever we're at events, I get a really bougie suite and have about 12 people to the room, and we order cheesecake and we drink. And it's fantastic.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
When was the first one? Was that New York?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like
Got some juniors
2019,
up?
2020, no, 2021. It was right after COVID.
Why does the shortest armed person have to do this?
Yeah, I planned that intentionally. Oh, no.
Oh, party foul.
I was overextended.
Just like a bank.
Yeah. We have to cheers now.
Yes,
Reach your tiny little arms.
I do. Me too. Yeah, my little dinosaur arms. They're proportionate.
That's delicious.
I like the bubbles.
That's a pretty tasty champagne.
10 out of 10.
So for those that are ever looking for it, it's this, and I will not attempt to pronounce Drapier?
You did attempt to announce.
I did. It's probably French, and
Liar.
I butchered it. But you know what? In your face, French. I'll butcher all your words wrong. So, anyway, so yeah. So I am one question about that. Like, why cheesecake? What do you love about cheesecake so much?
Well, we were in New York, and Junior's Cheesecake was like catty corner to the hotel, and that was probably the best cheesecake I'd ever tasted in my freaking life. So I just wanted it like 4 times a day.
You went hard on the cheesecake.
I did. I was on a bender.
Yeah. I was a little concerned.
Listen, you know what? When you get a dessert that speaks to you, and it is like the best, like that was chip cookies for me for a bit, and then crumble, and they kept doing new flavors every week. Like it was a race to gain diabetes. I would buy them.
An arms race.
Yeah, definitely. We were like, let's get there. And like 40 pounds later, I was like, I think I might have a problem. I should probably
mine recently was the boba popsicles, the boba milk bars from Costco.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Haven't had one.
They're like this, like they have this like brown sugar encrusted over the top, and then it's like this boba and this milk bar. That's so good.
Sounds really
It's really good. I should have brought some. I still have them.
that's
I had to stop eating them, so now there's like in my freezer like 3 boxes of them. But yeah,
You have to like boba to like them. I do not love them as much as Thomas. I will feel that.
they're so good.
Yeah. So, well, as we start our bubbly conversation, we're sharing something that is important to you. Let's actually talk a little about your journey. Because I think there's always unique journeys that we get to talk to, and unique, I guess, origin stories for a lot of people. But yours I don't know. There's something I find super endearing about it, but I don't want to steal any of the thunder. So walk us through kind of what led you into this world of list management and performance marketing.
So I was originally a customer. I bought a workout online in 2012. And
Was it a ClickBank product?
It was.
No way.
Venus Index.
It's true. We have
You
real
exist.
customers.
Yeah. And I won a fitness transformation contest and lost 50 pounds in 12 weeks. And at that time, podcasting was getting big. And I went on the podcast with one of the offer owner, one of the partners, and we just made friends. And then that offer like hit #1 on ClickBank, and it was like 4 20-something-year-old gym bros, and they needed help. So they called me, and so I started just picking up tasks.
Did you have experience in the space before? Or just
No.
Yeah.
I was a teacher. So I had
you had-
experience correcting their PDF. They had some typos.
An experience dealing with wrangling children.
Yes,
Which if 20-something gym bros would
Expert level.
be essentially,
Yep. And then our list manager quit, and I was pretty good at it. So the list manager made like $10,000 a month the month before I took over, and the first month I ran the list, we made $170,000.
Whoa! Wait, what?
I
didn't know
know.
that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you went from 10
so-
to 170.
Yeah.
And like, what was your like? How? Yeah,
I was like,
it's
what
just
did- what
go
were they
from
doing
that to
wrong?
that.
What
When
were you doing?
prior to that, you'd been a teacher and you were kind of the catch-all operator.
Yeah, so my degree's actually in biology with a minor in chemistry. So I was a microbiologist chemist professionally first. And then I had kids, so then I started teaching school, so I taught high school. So then I was kind of the catch-all. I was helping out once I started working with the guys at Venus. I started helping in the forum. They had forums back then. I think it's funny to remember this.
Remember when the internet had forums? Yeah,
Yes.
before Discord,
Before Reddit.
Facebook, Reddit, all that stuff.
Yeah, and helping with customer service. And then I was like, hey, y'all, like, here's some typos in your PDF, fix that. And then it was like I was doing project management, like checking out funnels and looking at sales pages and just whatever they needed. Yeah, I was the catch-all girl.
So when you first got into list management and like that, you were taking that over, like, how did you look at it different? Like, why did it just suddenly turn to so much more revenue versus what was happening prior?
I think
Yeah, set the scene.
this is my opinion on it. Of course, this isn't, I mean, who knows? I think I look at everything with a very data-driven mindset, and I think most people that ran lists at that time, and I'm talking about the guy who ran the list before me, was a copywriter, and copywriters are artistic, and they go off feeling and emotion, and I'm a scientist. There's no feeling or emotion with my decisions. I look at numbers, stone hard, cold number killer, you know? So...
Whoa.
Hey, I'm a accounting major. I love numbers. I'm
yeah,
right there with
like,
you, Liss.
so,
Yeah,
like-
numbers don't lie. People
I'm the odd
do.
one out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Numbers don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
there
can't
was
relate.
no thoughts or emotions clouding my judgment. I just started going after what did well, and it escalated quickly.
That's an insane difference, though.
Yeah.
10K to 170. Yeah.
Well, and again, especially like, I think there's agencies or list managers that you could hire that probably won't even promise that level of change.
Gosh, no.
So that's fantastic. So
Yeah, and I mean, of course, this is like one case scenario. It's not.
And
it's
I can't
all of them
promise
list.
that
It's
to-
every
yeah.
one of them.
You get
Every list I
1,000%
take,
increase.
17 times
Remember,
increase.
people lie, numbers don't.
So I was curious, like, was it all third-party offers and affiliate offers you were mailing? Was it internal offers you were cross-promoting for
It was
Venus?
a mix. It was a mix. So it was a mix of our own internal stuff, content, and affiliate offers. And I still stick to that formula today.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, very cool. So, well, actually, what is that formula, that mix for you? And I imagine your scientist brain, you probably split tested that quite a bit over the time and the volume that you've had.
So every list that I run is ran individually. I just want to point this out. So it's not one size fits all. So it depends on how many internal offers the client has, how the list responds to content, and then how the list responds to affiliate offers. So some of my lists are exclusively internal.
Oh, really?
Do you have some clients here at ClickBank that have literally like 100 offers? So I can literally just run their whole list with internal. But then I have clients that only have one offer, so that gets mailed like every other week or once a month. So it just really depends. Like, we're trying to monetize the list. So what makes the most money?
Yeah. So, you've seen a lot of marketing now. Like, obviously, when you first started, you saw all of it and all the way to list management. So, when you think about it in terms of your email list as an asset to a business that's selling online, if you had to rank it out in terms of assets in a business, from 1 being the most important asset you have to 10 being something you get rid of, where would you put that out?
I'm sure. I'm sure the list managers would rank this very low. Yeah,
Very low.
yeah.
So
The softball question.
yeah, right.
Thanks for qualifying that to be nothing. Trust nothing she says.
I will say though, most of my clients, they pay themselves from the email list. They are usually just breaking even on day 1 with customer acquisition. So the email list is actually paying the employees and themselves. So when you look at it that way, or even as a business evaluation, it is one of the more prized assets of a business because it's recurring
all the profit
revenue.
margin, right?
Yes.
Well, it's one of the best ways to communicate with your customers too, consistently, and know you're communicating directly to them.
Right.
So I think that's pretty powerful for sure.
I want to go back to your story. With so you're managing the internal lists at Venus.
Yeah.
When did you start going more like agency model with other clients?
So there was 4 partners in Venus. All those 4 partners took me to their own separate businesses that they didn't share. And then partners of those partners started bringing me into their businesses. And a partner of a partner, who y'all know well, Todd Lamb,
Yeah.
goes to this event and talks to somebody who needs a list manager. And he's like, tells them about me and comes home, calls me, is like, I got you your first client. I don't know if I would have taken that step, but Todd believed in me and was literally like my number 1 cheerleader. And he
nice.
literally started my business.
That is so cool.
That's
I
really
know,
cool.
isn't that amazing? I would have probably been fine being an employee forever. Like I didn't have, my mindset has changed a lot over the years, right? So I don't know if at that time I would have thought myself of as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And so that got you working with the clients versus just being employed by kind of the Venus umbrella.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Which must have been confusing as it expanded to all these partners. You're like, am I really an employee as I'm cascaded across like 6 partnerships?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That seems like it'd be complicated. What I mean, first, I think that's just a testament to where we talk a lot about how oftentimes we get really excited about the numbers in this industry. They're exciting, they change lives. But what actually changes the lives, and I think the difference for people that stay around and see the value, and I think what's unique about this industry versus other industries out there is it's the relationships.
Absolutely.
Because what changed it for you was not a number. It wasn't, an invoice or anything.
Right.
It was a relationship you had with somebody,
Yep.
and them being so connected to you that are like, I believe in this person. I'm
Yes.
going to take a step for them.
Absolutely.
And Todd is obviously an amazing person too.
Very.
So that's super cool. What a great transition. So from there, that was your first client.
Yeah.
And it's been how many years since that point?
Like close to 10.
Wow. That feels wild.
Yeah.
And so now to this point, how many, if you could share, I understand sometimes it's proprietary, where's that client load at this point? Like how many clients are you working with and how many lists are you managing?
We manage a lot.
Yeah.
I actually don't keep a count.
Oh, wow.
I
Choose
would
a person for that
say
now,
like
yeah.
more than 30, less than 100, somewhere there.
I like it.
And so I've got a team of 12, and they're mostly all stay-at-home moms. It's a passion of mine to
Oh, nice.
employ stay-at-home moms so that they can stay home with their kids and still support their family financially.
That is awesome. How do you go about, now I'm just super curious about that. I guess if you could dial back a little bit, like what, you said it's a big passion point for you. Like why? Expand a little bit.
So, like I said, my degree was in microbiology chemistry, and I was a microbiologist. And after I had kids, the line, I worked at a spice company, and the line started at 5:30 a.m. in downtown Dallas. And I lived about an hour away. So I would get up at 3:30, wake up my 2 kids under 2, take them to a nanny downtown because what childcare opens at 5 a.m.?
Not good ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Oftentimes, yeah.
And
I went to those childcare facilities. Learned a lot.
yeah. So at some point, I was just like, what are you doing? This isn't what's best for your kids. And what would be better? And so the thought of teaching school. So I started teaching high school science, went back, got my certification, and Yeah. So like literally changed my career to suit my kids' lives better, which was never anything I considered in college, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
And I think like as a woman, sometimes you're faced with those questions of you really want kids, but you really also want to help your family financially, and how can I do all of this?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a passion of mine, is letting other women feel like they can be the best mom and also be the best spouse and help, on the financial front at home.
They can really have their cheesecake and eat it too.
Yeah.
To that, I think that we should all cheers to that. Right? Yeah.
I do.
Yes, that is. I would say that is an amazing thing. As somebody like my wife has had to deal with that, right? Being stay at home, and it's a tough sacrifice to make, and it's hard when you don't always do it because you want to, but you don't at the same time.
Right.
And so I think that's really cool. I don't know. It's a great thing. There's not enough people that make those efforts and attempts, and so that's really an awesome thing. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm gonna go now. I'm just really
I was
happy
curious, like,
with that
when did you
moment.
make your? How long did you try to do it yourself before you made your first hire?
I don't think I hired my first hire. I want to say in 2018 or 2019. I don't remember the exact year. So what's funny about that is I was working 7 days a week, 12 hours days.
Oh.
Yeah. Like somebody has control issues here.
You really brought that work-life balance back.
And John Barban, who was the original partner in Venus Index, like also kind of mentored me, is like, Liss, you got to let go. Like, this is not healthy.
Yeah.
And he's like, my cousin's girlfriend needs a job. She's amazing. You would love her. But like her and her significant other, she couldn't go with him to travel. He was like a film documentary guy. Mm-hmm. And so he would just like leave her and she'd be waiting tables. And he's like, she would be so perfect for you. And if it doesn't work out, like they're not going to be homeless and destitute. Mm-hmm. And so I hired her, and her name was Kristen, and she's literally like my right hand. And not only was she awesome, but like something she did better than me. Mm. And so it was like, oh, I can let go of stuff and it'll still be okay. And from there, it escalated quickly.
You're like, this is nice. I like this. Yeah. Because I was just going to say, like, I think there's probably a lot of entrepreneurs that find themselves in that hyper control state, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I can't trust anybody more than me.
Right.
And you find yourself spiraling towards a different kind of destitute, energy and emotional destitute, right? Yeah. So what have you done to what are some of the steps that you've taken through that hiring process to be able to let go without reducing quality? Because I think that's the big balance you always have to find.
So I started with like little steps. So like the first one is like literally just loading an email. Actually, I think I started with proofing an email. Mm. So like she was proofing my work. And so then I'm like, oh, she's catching my mistakes. And then it's loading the email. So then I'm proofing and she's loading. So then I'm catching her mistakes. And then it's like, okay, well now you can start pulling the revenue. And there was always like some sort of cross-check system, right? So that I still had like eyes on it until they reach like a level of proficiency that you're like, okay, hold on, like they're catching things that I didn't catch. And that's when you know, like, okay, they're good. Next.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Nice. Okay, so you create a safe, controlled place.
Yeah.
That if they fail, you're going to catch it hopefully early.
Yeah.
on.
So it's just like it's SOPs, right? Mm-hmm. So as a project manager before I managed Liss, like that was a big thing for me is standard operating procedures. Like if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, who's going to do this job?
Yeah.
Somebody should have a checklist. Mm-hmm. And so that was honestly the most frightening thing with my business when I was working 12-hour days, 7 days a week. If I got hit by a bus, what the hell?
Yeah.
Road goes away.
It's literally risky for my clients. Like, so you have to think about other people other than you and your control issues.
Mm-hmm. It's like the what ifs, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, because too, I imagine that for you have to travel a bit to all the different masterminds and the events you go to find additional clients or
That's a big, so that's been a big thing for me lately. And being able to like, I'm the relationship person, right? Mm-hmm. I'm the one that you talk to. I'm the one at events. And I'm the face of the business, so I have to be at all these things. So my business has to operate with me kind of focusing my attention on acquisition, just like any other good offer owner needs to do.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We bring that in. So I'm curious, like, when was the hesitation to hire more around, like, I don't know who to hire, how to hire, or was it around like what if it goes wrong and like that?
It was around, my biggest challenge was the fear of, what if I can't sustain this and I have to let them go and they're like having to go to the food bank? This is so ridiculous.
No, it's
No. I listen, for anyone that hasn't fired somebody before, when you have to stare down, like I remember one of the first thoughts I had the first time I fired somebody, which I just met them 2 hours out earlier, so it was really uncomfortable. Like, hello, you're not gonna have good memories of this interaction.
Were you an Axeman? Were you like the George Clooney flying into like?
Long story for a different time, I'll tell you. But this way, the person I replaced had just been fired, so they were firing everybody where I was working. It was like I fired another person later that week.
You joined at a great time.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm just gonna learn real fast. But I remember thinking, I was like, you're going. I could not shake the feeling of you're gonna have to go home and tell your family that you lost your job and the impacts to all of that and everything that comes in. It always would break my heart. So I totally get that. And I think, I hope a lot of people worry about that. I'm sure there's some people like, but you know, that's a real concern.
Yeah, it's like I'm responsible for these people's lives.
Yeah.
And I don't take that lightly. And I don't know. I care about my team on like such a deep level. Like we're family.
Yeah.
So I'll go without before they do.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, what is it? Simon Sinek, leaders eat last, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, no, that's
Unless
great.
it's cheesecake, then Liss eats first.
And champagne. Yeah. Especially with champagne, you gotta have that together. So
Eat and drink.
well, no, I know it's kind of we went in an interesting direction with this, kind of talking about infrastructure, but that's the thing a lot of entrepreneurs really struggle with is how do you start expanding?
Yeah.
So now I'm kind of curious as we've gone down that route. So you said it was 6? How many team members do you have again?
We've got about 12 now.
Wow, I was way off.
I was going to say, I think it was 12, yeah.
Yeah, wow, I listened very well. Let me just pour some more champagne here. That'll help some memory out. So with 12, like, how do you go about selecting the right people? So the first one kind of came to you, but now you're having to select people. So what does that process look like for you?
So the next probably 6 to 7 were my actual best friends and family.
Oh, nice.
I know everybody says don't work with your friends and family. I did the complete opposite. Because I can trust them to die on the mountain with me. Mm-hmm. Literally. And they also know like our friendship or our blood, if you will, means more than this business does. So like I've had some friends like they're like, I'm just not into this, and they've left and like we're still fine. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Probably through a lot of honesty and communication.
I think like, people first.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're going to find somebody, one of the reasons like you want to trust them and you want to know that you could get along with them.
Yes.
It is definitely key.
Yeah.
So after the first 6 hires where you're like, well, we've been knowing each other since I've been born, or you've been born, one of the two. When you went to the cold hire, was it a referral basis? Were you like going to job boards?
So it's mostly been referrals. So of those inner core 6 or 7, now we're on to the best friends and family of those.
Gotcha. So you're really keep
it in the family.
Keep it in the family.
Yeah, it's like a mafia, but Liss.
Yeah.
Ooh, the Liss mafia.
The Liss, you're right.
Moms.
Yeah, the Graham mafia. It kind of sounds like people are making like Teddy Grahams,
Yeah,
but
I
they're
was
doing
gonna
it in
say,
a really aggressive way.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you enter and make your own Teddy Graham, they're going to break your kneecaps.
They go to turf war with the Keeblers.
Yeah, exactly. They're just slaughtering elves out there. Like, yeah. No. So anyway,
let's roast your name some more. Yeah.
let's continue to talk about Liss
that
being
way,
a
like
mafia.
cheesecake?
Yeah, it sounds great.
The graham cracker crust. Yeah.
So, well, I mean, that's interesting. I think the fact you made that work, but it sounds like it was always about like, hey, you're in this with me, not you're in this for me.
No.
Is one of the big differences I'm hearing as you
huge.
talk about
Right.
it. I think a lot of people don't approach employees that way. They do think about you work for me, and it's to help me, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Hey, we're all in this together. Let's try to help each other out.
A lot of people talk about like their business is in place to serve the customer, but if you can serve everybody, including your employees, right? You're serving them, then a lot of it comes back up.
Yeah.
To you. So I want to.
We were talking about list management. We went way off.
Well, I
Sorry.
wanted to come back to the list
Yeah.
management piece a bit. Like when you're finding new clients now, or through your experience of having new clients, what is usually like the big fix that you can identify in their email operations?
The number one is they just aren't doing it.
Right.
And they know they need to.
Not mailing their list.
They're kind of help. I don't know what to do.
Or they might be mailing it, but it's like, oh yeah, we mail it. And it's like once a week or
Or
once a month.
there's that. Or like our media buyer is running our list and he mails it when he feels like it.
Which is never, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, well, I'm bored today. I guess I'll send something. Yeah.
Facebook's not doing so good. Let's go send an email.
Oh man.
Yeah, what if we did that every day? Oh.
So that's pretty common is people are just not. So being that you've talked to so many people, I know Thomas and I talked to a lot of people that are doing very little with their list. What's the common, I guess, unifier is why people don't do it? I mean, there's not like a shortage of information saying, mail your list, monetize
The money's
it.
in the list.
Yeah. So, but yet at the same time, just like telling your kids or a teenage boy to bathe, you tell them, but they still don't. So, like, why? What is the common thread that you seem to see? I have a 13-year-old right now, and the amount of times I'm like, "You stink," and he's like, "I don't." I'm like, "Well, no, you do." Anyway,
I think that entrepreneurs, we have a lot to do, right? And it's just one of those things, like it's in our minds, it's not hurting us. And we're so focused on the customer acquisition piece. So let me tell you a story.
Yeah.
One of the top off-runners at ClickBank had to be reminded 3 times to talk to me to run his list. He had a list of over 2 million people, and we made, I want to say, $4 million last year off his email list.
wow.
And
That's straight to bottom line too. That is just pure profits.
Yes.
Pure freaking profits. Wow.
And the fact that I know he knows this.
Right.
And yet our mutual friend had to say, talk to Liss, talk to Liss, talk to Liss. And then he finally talked to Liss. And now we're making $4 million a year. And that was last year. We'll probably make more than that this year. That wasn't even enough to motivate it.
Wow.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's a commonality of we as entrepreneurs are so busy and we're so focused on the customer acquisition piece that we forget the back end monetization. But then I also think most of the time we don't understand how much money we're talking is being left on the table. And like that money that you didn't mail last year, you're never getting it back.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just lit it on fire.
Man, I hate lighting money on fire.
Can't lose it if you never had it.
I could have
Whatever helps
invented a
you
time
sleep at
machine
night.
with all that money to go back and use it if I would have had. Oh, jeez. So, well, I think that's a really interesting perspective. It is just that, I'll get to it eventually.
Yes.
Right?
And I think that's what it is.
Yeah. It's
And
like
they
me
don't-
starting a diet. Eventually.
Yeah.
Well,
One
not
day.
for, like,
Not Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
We're
Yeah.
going to start at Monday.
Is there a size of list where it's like, if you're not doing it by this point, you need to? I mean, maybe it's just like 1, right? You just need to start right away.
Yeah.
Is there a size of list where it's just like, okay, if you're not monetizing this to a serious capacity, like get off your butt and do it?
I don't know as if it's a certain size of list, as if it's more important how fast you're acquiring customers.
Oh, okay.
Because if you're acquiring like 100 customers a day or more, like that is an emergency. You need a list manager because we're talking about a lot of money now. But even like if you're just talking about list size, even 1,000 subscribers count, especially if they're buyers. So like most everybody on ClickBank that would be listening to this, that would apply to you.
Right. Yeah, 100%. No, I find it shocking when you look at like the platinum sellers on ClickBank who are not monetizing their list. It's a shockingly high number considering how often it gets preached in the industry to monetize your list. Send to your list.
Monetize your list.
Do it. Do it now.
What do you
Not
say?
till Monday,
Yeah.
not some Monday in the future.
Now.
Yeah, it's not Kyle's diet. It's your money, right?
What do you say to the people who are like, oh, I don't want to burn my list. I don't want to like fatigue my list. I don't want to just beat them
That's
over the
very
head with
common.
offers. Like, what do you say to those people?
Do you not like money? What's wrong with you?
You're in a business, right? Yeah.
Okay, so say we're not even going to mail affiliate offers. Like that's, we can still mail your stuff, bro, and some content. But I think what you're going to find out is you really like that money and you'll be like, what else can we do? And then we're going to really start making some good money.
Have you seen that several times? You start off, hey, we'll just do internal promos.
Yeah.
We're going to do some cross-selling.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, man. And now they're like, okay, I either need to make more products or what if we do some affiliate stuff?
That's
Okay.
exactly what usually happens. Yeah, it's alluring, right?
Yeah. We all don't like money until we have it. And they're like, I think I like it. I think it's kind of nice.
The most money I made
It's like
last month.
cheesecake and champagne. This is pretty sweet.
What I love it too is that you talk about the front end acquisition. As you get better back end monetization, all of that can feed higher scale on the front end because now you can afford to pay more on the front end. If you're stuck at paying $60 CPA or whatever it was, and now you're making X percent more, maybe 1,000% more because you weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
Also now maybe you can pay $100, $120 CPA.
Yeah.
And now you can really start to scale that front end.
Yeah.
And
And
even more
all
comes on the
that,
back
like,
end.
it just exponentially grows your whole business.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, we go back. It is directly your bottom line. There's not that many revenue
sexy EBITDA,
streams
yeah.
in your business that could equate so directly to your bottom line, like an email list can.
Yeah.
It's super powerful.
And also, we can do SMS. That's texting,
which is huge.
and also push marketing.
Yes. SMS. That's another one that's very underutilized. But I remember in my own experience where it's a smaller list, your open rates are 99%, 98%, incredibly high. Can't treat it quite the same as email, right? But it's still very
But it makes a
little more
lot
careful,
of
yeah.
money.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
ROAS is,
I would say a text list makes on average 5 times more per subscriber than an email list.
Wow.
I believe. You can't do it as often, but when
No,
you do
and
it,
there's
it's
rules. There are rules.
Yeah.
Tread carefully. Yeah.
Please consult the lawyer.
Yeah. Well, because the fines are expensive.
It's $1,000 per text.
Yeah.
Text. That can rack up fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So please consult legal.
Because it's based off, and it's
good-
important to
a good
remember
legal,
the
yeah.
laws are on SMS are actually based off telecommunication laws, which are predicated more on like outbound phone calling. So not that industry has ever created problems in our society in the past. So you could see they're a little bit more harsh for a text message versus an email.
It's also very jarring, right? Like if I text you, you're looking at it immediately. If I email you, when you get to it is when you look at it. So you also have to look at it as it impacts the subscriber.
Yeah. Unless you're emailing me or texting me, because I'll read an email before a text any day.
Are you serious?
I'm really bad at texting lists. It might be the worst thing I'm at in my life. I'm pretty horrible.
I find that so entertaining.
It's weird. My wife doesn't. She does not find it entertaining. She'd love if I would be a normal human.
My wife is the only one that I can text like on a regular cadence to get back to her quickly. Everyone else, it's like, I'll read it though. Yeah.
So SMS is really powerful. Email is still very powerful. You need to be doing something in your business. And I like the idea of like, if you're not, even if you don't necessarily start emailing, you need to think about that in the plan. It should be a part of the plan.
Yeah.
And even a part of that plan is call list. Like it should be a part of the plan to some capacity.
So, I mean, setting up your offer, the email, like the autoresponder that they get right after purchase has such a profound impact on your chargeback and refund rates. And I don't think people understand how much you can mitigate refunds and chargebacks if you have a well thought out autoresponder series and or including SMS in that.
Can you talk? What does that look like for you? Like I buy a product from one of your clients. What's like an ideal?
So that immediate email, once you buy it, should say, where are you getting your receipt? When can you expect your purchase and how? And how can you contact us? And if you can send a text that repeats that and also the shipping information, huge.
Yeah. I think people need to remember that people are busy and they probably don't see it or they don't read it.
Yeah.
So the more you can get in front of them,
Yeah.
the more likely you can catch that. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. So repeating it in more than one place, so the email and the text is super amazing. And I mean, like 90% cut refunds and chargebacks.
Yeah. No, that I've never. It makes a ton of sense, right? It makes a ton of sense, but I don't think I even thought about it that way, to be honest. I don't know why I made it sound like I was some sort of brilliant person. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Sorry.
Not even me.
No, I didn't think of it. No, but like, that's a really good point, though, in that I think people forget that oftentimes when we make a purchase, there's always that euphoric, ooh, I bought something, followed by an immediate horror of, what, have I made a mistake,
Yes.
right? You have this window of
Reassurance.
yeah, you need to make people not feel stupid afterwards.
Yes.
Because as soon as you feel stupid, the regret of purchasing is going to be real
Then
strong.
we're calling our credit card company. Then
Yep.
we're calling our bank. Then we're calling ClickBank.
Yep.
We
yep.
don't want that.
Yes, for sure.
Don't call us.
Don't call us.
Call the seller. Yeah.
That's a great point. Really good point. I actually want to transition a little bit because this is something I think Yeah, I think I probably know the answer, but I'm really curious. I've never asked it before. Is oftentimes you manage over 30 plus, it's 30 between 100. So, right, so there's a range in there. But when it comes to that, when you have an offer that is working really well, like you sent something, you're like, ooh, this is good. What does the scale process look like? And then how is that different than, say, the maintenance process? So I'm going to get that first send. I'm going to send it out, make a lot of money.
Yep.
But how do you keep making money with that?
So Kyle pings me on Skype and says, "Let's test this offer,"
Yep.
and I mail it, and it does amazing. My scale process is, girls, get this on every calendar as fast as we can. Like, if I'm the first to mail it, we make the most money. Me and my clients do.
Yeah.
So it behooves us to like move with
With
urgency.
speed. Gotcha.
The maintenance process on that with every list varies. So typically in the next week or two, they're probably going to see it again. And we'll just keep seeing it until it falls off. Now I'm going to start changing the creative and what does it look like. And start testing different angles, words.
Will you run the same creative, like the same swipe, until you start to see a reduction in performance? You won't touch it, test anything else?
Why mess what's broken up?
Yeah.
Wow, just butchered that.
That's
You
okay.
know what
I got
meant?
you.
I
Don't worry.
picked up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
I
Thomas
see it
did once say
mouth
it
is
has
full of
legs that
cheesecake.
cut teeth. So we're all here for a non-sequitur word that makes no sense. Yeah. No. So that's so. From there, I think that's interesting. Sometimes I think there's a temptation to, even when a swipe's working, like try and how do we get a better one?
Yeah.
How do we get ready for this to fail? So like just in general, I know this probably varies, but if you had to guess like a really good swipe, how long and how many sends on average will that work on a list for?
It depends on the list turnover. So if like the number one offer on ClickBank right now, I could probably send that every day because that's how many buyers they're getting in. It's gonna last.
Yeah, it's true. Right.
But
now,
like an offer that's on the decline, so like we're at 150 in the marketplace or 1,000, like that, they can't see that very many times because it's not refreshed and or it hasn't ran out. That's the other thing you got to remember with the emails. Like with supplements, they run out. So if it did well, you want to get it back
like
into
the actual.
yeah.
Right. I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, like they
took
run
the
out.
supplement, yeah.
And I would like to capture that sale
yeah.
for the refill.
For the re-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and especially since oftentimes offer owners don't generally have the back end e-com place for them to purchase. So sometimes those front end sales or the front end like emails are the only way that they could repurchase.
Exactly.
Even if they bought 18 bottles, they would
Yes.
like another 18.
Yes.
Because it works that well. They're now 5 pounds because of all the weight loss.
I've been singing the praise of magnesium glycinate to anyone who listened over last week.
It's amazing
Yeah, it's changed my
stuff.
life. Yeah. So you must get hit up all the time by people like, will you test my offer?
Yeah.
Right? Because you have got so much access to so much email inventory.
And I love it.
How do you like? You must have a gut check of stuff, and like this looks like I could test it or not. Is there anything that you won't like? What I guess what's your barometer when you get stuff across your Skype desk or your
If
desk?
it's not on ClickBank or MaxWeb, I don't test it.
Are you still running that? Yeah. So it's
I
like,
have to know that I'm going to get paid and my client's going to get paid.
So
More
you're-
importantly,
yeah.
my client than me, but yeah.
so you're trusting the networks, so you can get paid from them. They'll track and pay.
Yes.
Okay, so that's step one. They're
Step
on
one.
a major network that you can get
Yes.
paid from that you trust.
Yes.
What are the next steps? It's like, is it what the offer looks like, what the payout is, or anything like that? Or?
No. So pretty much after that, if it looks like, yeah, I have a gut check. So I look at it. It looks like I don't see anything. It's not horrible. It doesn't look like my child wrote this offer. I'm probably going to test it because sometimes I'm surprised at what works. There's been stuff I run and I'm like, holy moly, who would have thought?
Yeah.
Can you think of a recent example? Because I agree. There's been plenty of times I've seen offers of like, no way. And then you see it and you're like,
Okay.
all right, I guess there is a way. And they found it. So,
Yeah.
but can you think of one in recent in memory?
No, Kyle, I'm not going to point out somebody's dumb offer.
But it's doing well. Their dumb offer's doing well. They know it's dumb.
We didn't have to say dumb.
That was a good bait.
I didn't even mean it that way. I was more like, oh, that's really interesting. But we got there. Look at that. What a great list manager. You want to call it your dumb offers that do well.
Has your name always been Liss, or did you change it because you're a list manager?
No, my full name is Melissa. And I just don't really love that. My aunt and my cousins growing up called me Liss.
and then you just happened to become a list manager.
Yeah. Oh, well, my last name's Graham, and I was a science teacher. There's some sort of research there.
For sure. I think you had something going on because you said you're working at a spice company.
Yeah.
If any of that was cinnamon, you're just right there. Cinnamon Graham, you know. Like it was,
It was, actually.
yeah. I'm glad you've kept all your professions in your name.
Yeah.
So it might be limiting, but it's worked out for you. People like me with Kyle Costeca, there's no way. I don't know what that means. Like, considering what people used to do with my last name, I don't want to go to those professions. We won't share it on this podcast. It's quite inappropriate. But yeah. But we'll get back to business stuff. So, so I think going on testing, when you're doing testing and you're going out and kind of looking at the results for that, like when do you decide to give feedback, or what does that look like? Because I think oftentimes people are testing, they're wanting feedback.
Yeah.
But that's tough for you. You have a lot of offers, a lot of people.
Yeah.
So how are there times when you'll actually provide it, and other times when it's like,
If somebody asks, I try to provide it. But the data I give back is very limited. I'm going to tell you, did it do below average, average, or above average? So when I'm testing an offer, I'm only interested in the ones that do average and above average. Those are things I can save. So I usually test on 3 different test segments. If they all do below average, then I'm done testing.
Gotcha.
I've risked enough here. It's like going to Vegas. You only have so much money.
Gotcha.
Don't take your
Vegas
unlimited
would like to
credit card
disagree
to
with you
Vegas.
on that. They're like, there's always more. No, that's really interesting. So with the segments, when you go to, you said there's 3 kind of test segments. Like, how do you select those? And I'm assuming you don't go like the full list. You do like a portion, right?
Yeah. So
Just full send. Right?
yeah, we're not sending the test to the full #1 offer on ClickBank.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So it's usually a really small segment, and it's on a list that makes sense to see the offer.
Gotcha.
So like if we have a men's ED list, we're not sending a women's skincare offer to that list.
Yeah.
That would be silly.
I would hope so. If that did well, I'd have a lot of questions.
Never know.
Yeah. So you make it make sense, but then like, do you have like sections of lists? You're like, oh, these are these are really good indicators for what is going to perform with other lists.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have like your test groups.
Yeah.
Got the farm teams.
Yeah. So, I mean, in general, like almost every list I have has like peer lists. Like, so.
Peer lists.
Yeah. So if I have a diabetes list over here, this other diabetes list is going to do well too.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like back pain or weight loss. Like there's certain niches that there's a lot of, like if it does well on that one same, it's going to do well on all the other same ones.
So, and you might not have an answer to this. It just popped in my head. So I'm sorry. Like, it
No
could be a horrible
pressure.
question. Yeah. So, are there any, and I'll give an example, like, have there been any like offers or types of offers you've tried on a list that you thought, this is weird, I'm going to try it, and it worked out really well? For example, I know this is years ago, but somebody took a men's dating list and they started sending BizOp offers to it. And they're like, BizOp offers do better than lots of my other dating offers on a men's dating list. Which you could see the correlation there. Yeah. But I'm just wondering if you've found any wins to things where you're like, I'm going to try this. And it worked out.
So one of the first, like this is going back 10 years ago, one of the first big things that I thought was shocking was finance offers to health lists. And then I started like kind of like peeling back the layers. Why do I think this is that? If you're bettering your body, you're probably interested in bettering your finances. You're probably interested in bettering your dating life or your...
You're in a state of change already. Right?
Yeah, so I think you're bettering... So it's interesting when you start thinking that way, the other things that could fill in. And I found that to be true.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think a lot of people sometimes see but don't necessarily execute on something like that.
Yeah.
I feel I don't see it all the time. So maybe I don't put a
And just to like, you can say in the email, like, I know this feels a little off topic today. So if it's not for you, just delete. No hard feelings. And then go into it so that they know, like.
Just asking permission. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So like if it riles your feather, like I already warned you. And that's more for like, if I have a health list and I'm going to send like a dating offer or something, like. Things that you know could rile feathers up.
Because some of those dating offers sometimes could make people feel, especially knowing that, let's be real.
Triggering.
Yes, and we know that middle America is a big portion of the direct response world, middle conservative America. So there's some things that could make them ruffled.
Yes.
Nice ruffled.
And like, so ED offers
Yeah.
to a conservative list can actually be done, but you just have to word it in a way and pre-warn them. And then they do amazing.
They've been given permission, like, finally.
I can tell we're both trying to avoid all the jokes. So
yes. Drink more champagne, it'll change.
you're okay. With the trends and like the different topics, do you see, like, what's your gut telling you of any like upcoming types of products that you're excited to test or that you see starting to do well?
So this isn't necessarily for email per se, but it sort of is. A lot of the direct response people are starting to move into e-com also. That is a huge shift that a bunch of my clients are jumping on the bandwagon. And I like it because it gives me another list to manage, because we manage e-com lists, obviously different than direct response lists. So that's a big like future growth category for my business. And I also think it provides a lot of stability for the business. And if you're looking to ever sell your business, that's where you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck.
Brand versus cash flow.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do you manage an e-com list differently than direct response list?
So you don't send direct response offers to an e-com list.
Do you still send like other e-com
I feel
offers?
stupid.
then?
Yeah.
No, don't feel stupid.
I imagine probably a lot more cross promos, but you'd still send other offers, right? Just in a different way.
Honestly, like e-com lists are mostly internal stuff with a lot of content.
Yeah.
And it's like much less frequent, but the texting on e-com is ridiculous.
for like sales and things like that, because it creates that immediate urgency,
so much,
right?
Yeah, it's awesome. So
yeah, you put a coupon code in there,
Yes.
link to buy.
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting stuff. So,
Yeah, it is
so you've really seen SMS grow quite a bit then, especially in the e-com management space.
yes, yeah, and also so SMS for direct response offers, especially with like our supplements and stuff. Those SMS do really well because it's like that attention grabbing and getting the sale for the refills. Yeah, so that's another really huge use of SMS.
Yeah, no, SMS, I mean, so that's, how long have you been doing SMS for? I think it's a great channel that's very underutilized in direct response.
Maybe
too.
like 2 or 3 years, not
Yeah.
that long.
What's the main, do you use a preferred provider? Because I know there's a lot of providers out there.
There are a lot.
I feel like they change. It's almost like all of a sudden come and go.
So a couple of the email service providers have started doing SMS inside the platform.
Yeah.
Entreport does it. Clavio, I know this is e-com only.
Yeah,
Clavio's SMS
they're like
is
Shopify exclusive, aren't
yes.
they? Yeah.
And
Which ClickBank has a Shopify integration now. I was going to plug that real quick.
Oh,
so
nice.
that's been going pretty well. Yeah.
that's good.
So helping that e-com hybrid approach going.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Come on, get your e-coms going.
Well, and so then Ameritapost as well. I know they have
Yeah,
a
I
baked
think
in
they
one.
have it. I think Sinlane has SMS now. I want to say Attentive is a
Pretty
good.
sure Maripost does too, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, we said that earlier.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. That's like a
I
cheesecake.
think Attentive is a good like standalone one.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, but SMS, like, again, really, really powerful source. I'd say if you only took one thing away from this, like, and you're not using SMS, you should probably start finding a way.
Yeah,
Really,
no,
really
I agree
effective.
with that.
Yeah. So, well, one, as we're kind of getting the end here, you also mentioned push, and we've totally ignored push, but I think it's a pretty interesting traffic channel, a little bit different.
Yeah.
Cheap is crap. So why don't you talk a little about
Also, like
Have you seen
zero
the-
regulations nearly, and
Yeah.
also the
cheap, no regulations? You got me.
and it's like almost impossible to unsubscribe from it. Have you ever unsubscribed
It's,
from Push?
you know when they like the push thing, like, do you want to opt in? I'm always like, nope. Someone's like, yes. I'm like, no.
Yes, it is oppressive marketing. It could really. I was like, well, I'll just throw my computer away. I don't need it anymore. And just yeah.
Yeah, so Push is super high volume, and it's a numbers game. So it's like if I'm ranking it, Push makes the least amount per subscriber, but it's also the cheapest. And then email's in the middle, and then SMS makes the most per subscriber. And then Push is just a volume game. So like it's a race of arms to collect subs and frequency, like 10 a day.
Do you have clients putting the push opt-in on their landers?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're getting.
So so your choices here are you can put it on your lander, and some of my clients do, or you can put them like on the first upsell.
Yeah.
And some do one, some do other.
Do you see an opt-in difference? I would focus less on the opt-in difference and more on, do you see a value per subscriber
that's
between the two?
I am not always privy to who does where. I'm just watching this. So since push is such a numbers game, I would put it on the lander
go for more.
I would go for bigger numbers.
Yeah, we did a podcast with Propeller Ads that we can probably maybe link to here. That was more for the affiliate side, for affiliates interested in going into the push traffic.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes deep into some of the ins and outs of it because it is relatively new to our core space and our friends, right? Like I don't hear anyone talk about push really until you just brought it up. So
yeah,
you're welcome.
It was Brett. Because I think first time I really heard anyone using this was you at Brett's mastermind.
Oh,
was that last year sometime?
Oh
so,
yeah.
But no, and so I know. So how do you primarily use it? You're just sending offers. Do you do anything else with it?
I mostly am sending offers. Internal stuff does really amazing on it.
Sort of e-com text
yes.
approach.
So like my clients that have a really deep repertoire of offers, Push does amazing. But we've done affiliate and done well with that too. Yes. So it's really just kind of whatever works.
And is that, what tech are you using for that?
I like One Signal for Push.
One Signal?
And it's not expensive at all.
Wait, because what are the cost per click on Push is like dirt cheap, right?
Yeah.
So it's like 2 cents or 3 cents.
I want to say,
like
actually, I might just be making this number up. I'm going to preface with this. I feel like it's $1,000 a month for 100,000 subs.
Oh wow!
Like it's nothing.
I'm out of math.
It's nothing.
Well, and you could send like 5 to 10 times a day.
Yeah, I send up to 10 a day.
Because it's only on desktop, right?
Yes.
It's the only way you're seeing it on a
pops
browser.
Up, so just like
so there is mobile push, but maybe not with what is it? One
Signal.
One Signal, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've only ever known it to be desktop.
Yeah, there is mobile push.
Is it different type of push though?
That's for apps, isn't
I would
it?
listen to
I think it's an app
podcast.
push.
I talked about
Okay,
earlier.
gotcha. You brought it up. You better bring more
exists.
details.
I know it exists. Yeah.
So research that we have to do on the podcast. So we have to go
There will be homework.
Yeah.
I reached the limit.
Choked my own spit.
Yeah. Have some more cheesecake.
Yeah. It'll absorb it.
This is why we can't have an eating podcast because I just eat all of it while.
Yeah, it has been very interesting.
There's
There's only
all my cheesecake and
then look at like Liss and I like sensible.
Really
We've been
interesting.
talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know what Thomas did with the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, so as we kind of we're getting close to time here, and we still have a lot of champagne to finish, so we'll do that after the podcast.
Champagne bongs.
Champagne bong. Yeah. So that is a fun way to drink champagne, the champagne bong, like until you vomit it right back out. So
I was in college. Yeah.
it was like 6 months ago. But so just I think one thing I think it's always good when someone sees so much. You see so much email. You mentioned kind of the e-com thing in terms of trends. What's a very email-specific thing that you're really focused on for 2023 that you think other people should be as well?
That's a good question. So we've been really focusing a lot on content inside the pitch emails. So let's say like the top of the email is about Alzheimer's. The content at the bottom would be like 5 signs you might have early onset of Alzheimer's. And it's fun facts and it makes the reader feel good, but it serves another purpose in that it's like, I'm guilty of this number one. I lost my keys today. And so then it pushes you back up to the top. So the content, all it's really doing is serving a purpose to refocus back on the pitch and not make it feel like such a pitch, but it also helps deliverability into the inbox, primary inbox.
Because you're able to get that distribution of having a lot more non-sales language.
Yes.
So
Ding,
Google
ding,
thinks
ding.
you're thinking, oh, this definitely isn't a sales email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been my experience that content done poorly affects revenue. So this is me figuring out how do I keep revenue super high and still improve deliverability.
Yeah.
So the content quality has to be pretty high
Yes.
then. You can't just be throwing crap content out there because then you'll just blow everything up, hurt your sales, hurt your deliverability, and hurt yourself in the process.
Maybe proofread the chat GGB.
Yeah.
Please.
Learn some prompts.
Yeah.
Go follow Perry's stuff and learn how to do some prompts. So, well, I think that's awesome, Liss, and that's really good advice. And I think that's really interesting because I would say that's been a trend we've been hearing for like 6 months, ever since probably iOS, the whole iOS, whatever number, 12, 14, 15, something. I don't know.
Death to iOS.
I'm new
15.
to Apple, so this whole count of updates is something I should start paying attention to. But yeah, I mean, we've heard content continues to matter. And I think the other thing to remember is with AI, with the real increase in competition, and you've probably seen there are so many more people selling stuff online than even 3 years ago, that the content matters more and more and more, because that's the part where you really differentiate what you could say, what your message is, and how you connect with consumers. So I think that makes a ton of sense. And I'd probably say everyone listening here, first, monetize your freaking list, use SMS, and start focusing on some content in your business.
And if you don't want to do 1 through 3, call me.
Yeah. Well, that's a great segue.
Yes.
If people want to work with you, want to learn more about you, where can they go?
They can go to lissgraham.com.
You've got a website now. Hey, I'm proud of you.
It's really horrible. Feel free to go and make fun of me.
I'll also say you're also featured on our experts page.
Oh,
so we'll link to your experts profile in the link show notes here. But it's I think it's clickbank.com/expert/Liss-Graham. So
look at that shameless self plug. This
Good
job.
It's almost like we made it for this purpose.
I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Skype, LissGraham09.
We moderate the DRMP group together.
We have a huge group. So at the next event, we'll probably be having a little get together.
Yeah.
So you can come talk to us in person.
I can't believe I missed the notification for the last one. I don't know how that happened.
Thomas missed our own party.
Yeah. The Direct Response Marketing Partners affiliate.
The one at
Summit West. Yeah.
you didn't show up for that?
Well, it was like the day before, and I finally saw like the Facebook invite. I was like, "What?" Like, and I had a conflict. I showed up late.
I can't give you a hard time. I'm like the
you're
worst
the worst
Facebook user to ever exist. So,
I'm in the group.
Yeah, you're very
moderating it,
active. I'm very
every day.
surprised. I'm very
Thomas
surprised.
is literally the boss of the group.
Yeah.
That's D. That's D. Don't.
Yeah, that's true. D's the boss.
You're a part of the boss. You're like a stepson.
Listen, I like approve people here and there.
Yeah.
D's like chop people
for
out
sure.
of it. But
so that's funny. But yeah, no, great group. The last thing to say, really the best way to get a hold of Liss is if you just randomly try and Zoom call her or get her on a video.
Don't do that. I hate phone calls.
Getting on a call. I think we've had one call in our entire history. Like,
I feel like there's more than that.
I don't think so. I think it's been one like established. Hey, we're gonna get on a phone call. We scheduled it. There's been one of those. I'm pretty sure.
And
Everything
then
else has been.
Then I chopped that off at the knees.
They're like, I've got 10 minutes. I gotta go. I was like, okay.
I love that. I love that as somebody that dreads any phone call ever. I'm like, Liss is on to something. Great. So again, really appreciate your time. It was great having you in here. Hopefully you enjoyed Diamond up in Sun Valley.
I did. It was magical.
Yeah, and you guys brought some awesome weather, like not normally, but in a mountain setting.
Yeah.
All that snow was great.
Yeah,
so.
Skiing it was amazing.
Oh, man. It seemed that way.
But
it sounds really cool, guys.
I'm really sore.
Glad you two had fun.
Yeah. Let's talk about Thomas in there. Let's continue to isolate him.
Thomas didn't get to go to
Diamond.
Diamond.
He didn't. It was. We won't tell him about the extra secret special part because that'll drive him crazy.
Yeah.
I still have my credit card. You still have my credit card, I think.
I have it in my pocket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't tell him about the charges we put on his credit card.
Yeah.
But again, we hope you enjoyed Boise. It's great having you in here. We hope it's not the last time because we will bribe you with more alcohol for coming into the future.
I'll fly out here for cheesecake.
Yeah, there you go. With that though, we want to say thank you for your listeners. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoy some cheesecake and champagne later. And until next time, please rate, review, subscribe. Tell us who else you'd like to talk to, what other conversations you want to have, and what do we tell the people, Thomas?
Happy scaling.
We say beautiful. Have a good one.